Welcome to Pass the Turn. This is another Tabletop Tuesday segment, and today we're just going to be doing a little bit of a discussion episode on a new Kickstarter game based on a popular IP of Bloodborne. Bloodborne is a PS4 exclusive game from the producers of Dark Souls, Sekiro, which has come out, Demon Souls also, and it's an awesome game. It's set in a really, really thematic universe. Very, very Cthulhu, old one, horrible, gritty, Victorian-esque vibes that I really, really cannot wait to get my hands into. So, today's episode, I'm just going to be going through all the stuff that Kickstarter have released so far, and all the videos around surrounding that as well, and the gameplay and what you can expect to find in the game. Now, Bloodborne was backed in about 10-15 minutes, and it's already sat at $1.6 million pledged. I've pledged for the $90 early bird pledge. So with my early bird pledge, I get the board game, I get the Kirk Hammer Hunter exclusive, as well as all applicable stretch goals. So Kickstarter format is awesome because it allows you to pledge a certain amount of money for a certain amount of content, and also additional things that you don't get in the retail version. Although it's flawed, you know, if you don't pledge, you buy it later, you miss out on a lot of things. It is a flawed system in a sense, but also rewarding if you do dedicate to it. So Kickstarter, go check it out. You still can pledge $100 for the Blood Moon pledge, where you get all the things that you get in the early bird pledge, but just for a $10 extra. So Bloodborne, here it is. Bloodborne, the board game, is a dark and challenging action game designed by Michael Schinell and Eric M. Lang, cmon Games, where 1 to 4 hunters must explore the town of Yharnam and fight their way through beasts, monsters and frenzied townfolk to survive the night and uncover the source of madness that consumes it. Based on the award-winning Bloodborne video game by Sony Interactive Entertainment, the board game brings a beloved title to life with amazing miniatures. And oh my goodness, the miniatures look awesome, but typical from cmon Games, cool mini or not, are absolutely renowned for making awesome miniatures. And just look at this little preview on the screen here. This is what you get in the core set by the looks of it. You get some massive bosses, some awesome looking miniatures, player boards, loads of cards here, little Hunter's Dream section up there, enemy section, loads of tokens, cards, tiles for the map. You get loads of things in the base game, and it's ever going to be expanded on. If you pledge now, you'll get more than that. But even still, it looks like a nice amount that you get in the base game, which is good. So it's in development, obviously, and subject to licensor approval. 1 to 4 players, 14+ age range, within 60 to 90 minutes gameplay. Obviously, all subject to change because it's all prototype. So experience the action-filled horror of the iconic video game brought to the tabletop. That's obviously a little how to play little guide. Explore Yharnam. So a lot of the gameplay is going to be just going through different scenarios and flipping tiles. Flipping tiles is always a good mechanic because every game, no matter whether you're playing through a scenario or just a one-shot, is always going to be different, always presenting you with new challenges, which is what I like about tile-driven games. Also, if you check out in the top left corner here, well, to you it's the right corner. I always get this fucking wrong. To you, there's the viewer, it's the top right corner. Go and check out the Tomb of Annihilation game that we played. That is very, very tile driven, where you explore and the map, you know, discovers itself as you go through, which is always really, really good. So Explore Yharnam has that sort of mechanic in it by the looks of it. Decision-driven combat, so using a diceless, card-driven combat system, your choices are always deciding the factor for success or failure. So there's no dice in this game. It's all based on your deck and your cards that you play in combat, which is really, really good because me and my mates really, really like the card game for Dark Souls, which was brought out by Steamforged, and that was all about card play for combat. So I'm hoping they take a bit of inspiration from that. But I think there's a video on that as well, so I might be able to show that later. So face unspeakable horrors. The beast plague ravages the city, bringing horrors that will haunt your nightmares. So you can expect to see a lot of iconic Bloodborne characters brought to life in plastic form there. And there's also a campaign mode by the looks of it. Campaign to discover the source of evil, featuring 4 different campaigns, each composed of 3 chapters with unique content and varying enemy behaviour. So again, I think there's videos on how they behave and what have you. So we might watch those. we're not monetized yet here on Pass the Turn, so I think we'll be able to get away with showing clips of other people's videos. So this is what you get in the Blood Moon Pledge. You get a board game. Well, of course you do. So you get the core box, then you get this awesome pyramid head looking Kirkhammer Hunter character as an exclusive. You get 4 hunters, the saw cleaver, threaded cane, Ludwig's Holy Blade, and Hunter Axe. Hunters there. So all of those people are going to come with their own weapons that will grant them different attacks. And I think this game is very much based on the weapon you're wielding as to what attacks you do. 28 monsters, which include 4 hunter mobs, which look cool. 4 beast patients female versions, 4 beast patients male versions. You got church servants, which look awesome. Huntsman's minion, which smack you in the face with a brick. Scourge beasts, which look quality like dogs, and then church giants wielding massive axes. Then you get 5 bosses. You get a massive cleric beast. You get Vicar Amelia. You get Father Gascoigne. You get him in his normal form and his transformed beast plague form. And then you also get a blood-starved beast as well, which looks horrific. Excuse me. So the components that come with the game, you get your hunt track board, which is like the time track for the game, I imagine. You get the main board, which includes your mission, your enemy types that you encounter, and also the Hunter's Dream upgrades. So obviously every turn or every phase, I assume, you're going to be going back to that Hunter's Dream and upgrading your character and adding cards to your deck, which I imagine would be cool. You've got 20 tiles to the game, so a lot of variability as you lay different tiles every single campaign. You've got Hunter dashboards, which will have your health and, by the looks of it, your blood echoes experience, your firearm, and your main trick weapon. Oh, so maybe your so your trick weapon can change depending on. Actually, no, not really. By the looks of it, it looks like each trick weapon is designated to a certain character type. But yeah, the Hunter dashboards are just there to differentiate each character, I guess. I imagine being a cmon game, it will come with different colour bases for your characters. So you've got permanent item cards, which are like guns, I imagine, which would go in your firearm section, which is cool. You've got upgrade cards, you've got consumables, you've got chapter cards, which are also like your campaign, I imagine. Enemy stat cards, enemy AI cards. So by the looks of it, you can draw different cards to do different enemy AI attacks and what have you. Yep, counter bases, there we go, and 40 plus tokens, so those different tokens that you get as well to track the different events and what have you. Nice 3D render of the scale. You got your hunter there, you got your other character there, big massive giants there, and your cleric beast there. So if you look at the scale of the cleric beast in comparison to your character, it's like massive, absolutely massive, ridiculous. Bit of flavour text here. As we progress through the campaign, we will delve deep into the Chalice Dungeon, a new way to play. So Chalice Dungeon, I think, was like a just like a dungeon crawl with no real aim. I can't remember for the life of me what it was in the actual game, but it's like a non-campaign version that you can play through just for one-shots or something like that, or just trying to rack up as many kills as you can and get as far as you can, like a survival horde mode, maybe. So yeah, it says here, to single session, moving from campaign-focused Bloodborne board game core box to single session plays, focusing on slaying enemies, upgrading your hunter, and slaying unique bosses. Yes, I think that's what the Chalice Dungeon is going to be about. We will unlock additional enemies, allies, and surprises to enhance the Chalice Dungeon experience. It's up to you to lead the way. So this is all the stuff that's been unlocked so far. You've got Chalice Dungeon rule set with Chalice Dungeon tiles and Chalice Dungeon enemy action cards. We got some more Scorpion miniatures unlocked for the game, a beast-possessed soul boss, some more bell-ringing women, 4 giant rats, an undead giant boss, which is awesome, 4 rabid dogs, more Chalice Dungeon tiles, 4 silver beasts, which are Kickstarter exclusive. You've got sculpted chests, which I imagine would have treasure in, but it just gives you a more aesthetic feel to the game because you can put a little treasure chest where there's items, I guess. Another Kickstarter exclusive. A Beast Claw Hunter, which is another character, which gets the Beast Claw trick weapon, I imagine. And then here, I think the general people that were... I didn't actually take part in this vote, but you choose... The audience chose a path to go down, and they chose more Chalice options by the looks of it. So that unlocked some spider creatures. You get a Rifle Spear Hunter, so another trick weapon card. A large Nightmare Apostle boss, which is a big spider creature boss, I imagine. Look at this, 1110K. So that's $1 million. So it was funded in ridiculous amount of time, and it hit its target and achieved already. Excuse me. I feel like I've got a spider in my throat right now. So we've got Yarnum, the Perthumian Crean. Can't pronounce that at all. Ludwig's Unholy Canna. Ludwig's Uncanny Holy Blade Hunter. So another guy that we get access to. Sculpted Lamps, just another little bit of asceticism. You've got Blade of Mercy Hunter, another character you can be. You got 4 large huntsmen and 4 giant lost children. And then again, we went into a vote where the public chose what sort of stuff we wanted to unlock next. And that was a Murgo's Loft, which is a campaign separate to the game itself, which is like a self-contained campaign by the looks of it, where you get more miniatures, more tiles by the looks of it, more stuff. And that's where we're at right now. We're at £2 million. 2.1 million is the next stretch goal by the looks of it, and that's where we're at right now on the pledge. So we haven't unlocked that yet, but still a long way to go. So make sure you get pledging, because there's still going to be a lot more stuff to unlock, I imagine, in this game. It's still going strong right now, so go and have a look at it as soon as possible. So it says here what you get in your pledge, which I've just went through. Rulebook, what it says here, work in progress. So it looks pretty cool as is. There are a lot of works and a lot of time's been gone into this by the looks of it. It says here, please be aware this is work in progress. Yeah. So these are the videos. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to be itself. So I'll just play them and see what happens. 1 minute.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael Schnall, Design and Development Manager for CMon Games, and with my partner in crime, Eric Lang, we're going to be bringing you the Bloodborne board game.
Oh, I'm very, very excited. Thank you for sharing.
Luck has very little place in Bloodborne.
Oh.
We don't want some random element determining how much damage you deal,
That's good.
or if an enemy was taken down or not.
Yeah.
We want players to feel that their choices are the primary deciding factors for success or failure when it comes to all aspects of the game.
Sounds good.
To this end, we've incorporated a diceless, card-driven combat system with the goal of removing as many aspects of luck from this as we can.
That's
The
good.
result of each combat,
More strategy.
Success or failure is going to be dependent on the choices that you make as a player. Because I know what an enemy is capable of, everything I do is a calculated risk. I know the general attack patterns of each enemy. And of
Yeah,
course,
so the
even best
AI deck
enemies
changes
will
the
provide
attacks and stuff.
surprise change in my enemy's behavior. But even this is something I could have accounted for. For
Nice.
example, you might come across a huntsman's minion.
Oh, just seeing this wants to make me play the game.
High damage dealing attack.
Oh, smash.
But
Overhead slams.
is a very fast brick swipe
Bang.
attack.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
I'm
Smack
gonna
him in the
piss
face
you
with a brick.
off, knowing that usually it's going to use its basic attack against me. Therefore, I'm going to try a medium speed attack, dealing moderate damage.
Oh, there's speed attacks as well. Different speed attacks. That's really interesting.
Overhead smash. If you properly account for an enemy's behavior and plan accordingly, you should be able to come out on top of most encounters.
We'll stop that there. That's pretty decent. So you get a deck of cards, and you got like your speed, agility, endurance, or whatever the stats are in the game, and you place that on your trick weapon. And determining on where you place it, you get an additional augmented ability from that card, and you get to use the attack on the trick weapon itself. I mean, that's an awesome, innovative way to fight in a game. So let's go on to exploration and discovery.
One of the most rewarding experiences a player of Bloodborne gets is the
Exploration.
of the city of Yarnum.
It is.
To replicate that, we've used a variable tile system.
Variable tile systems, always good.
At the start of each chapter, the chapter will instruct you to take a number of named tiles.
Very much like Dungeons and Dragons board game.
Yarnum, such as the Grand Cathedral or the Tome of Odin. And then
Shuffle
add
them up.
a number of random tiles to create a tile deck.
Variable
These
each
random
time.
Tiles represent the various alleyways and connecting areas linking
Nice.
the city together. As players explore the map, they'll begin flipping over tiles and connecting them to the previous locations that they've uncovered.
Sounds
When
good.
a tile is revealed, it's populated based on the symbols on that tile.
Easy
It'll
night,
show you
easy.
exactly which items go in which location, which
Yep.
enemies are spawned on that tile, and where they're located. In addition to
Simple
this,
enough.
the chapter itself might tell you specific information about that tile. For example, the Tome of Odin might be a generic tile with just an enemy and an item spawned in most scenarios.
If you're playing a certain
But
scenario.
in a specific chapter,
Yeah.
it might instead spawn a specific enemy or have specific rules associated with it.
That's
as
good.
will be outlined by the chapter cards. This single dynamic alone adds a lot of replayability to each chapter, as even though you might be exploring the same location with the same events, just the setup of the map alone can drastically change how you have to approach different situations. Whereas previously, a location might have been
Sounds pretty good.
and have easy access. Now, there are several deadly enemies barring your path between your location and the nearest lantern. And no two games will be alike.
So that's really good as well. Again, those tile laying mechanics will allow you to have a different game every time, even if you're playing the same scenario or just a random dungeon. So that's really, really good. Tile laying games and board games for exploration purposes are always really, really good. So here we go, upgrades and stats. What do you have to say about this? Now I'm hoping that the sound doesn't cut out in this video, because I've never put on a video with someone else's sound on it. So we'll see what happens, I guess. But yeah, let's just do it.
How you upgrade your character can dynamically change how that character acts throughout the rest of the campaign.
Yep, so obviously you've got
Over the course
leveling
of
up.
the campaign, you're going to be gathering a number of upgrades.
Blood
As
echoes.
you accumulate blood echoes,
Yep.
you can redeem them in the Hunter's Dream to purchase upgrade cards.
Nice.
These upgrade cards are going to be permanently added to your stat deck, replacing
Nice.
cards that you have previously
Deck building
acquired.
aspect to it as well.
Upgrades come in 4 types, representing 4 of the primary stats seen in Bloodborne.
Vitality, endurance, strength, and skill.
Which represents your attack speed,
Nice.
strength, the amount of raw damage a character can deal,
Yeah.
endurance, how many actions and in general how many cards you'll draw each round,
Cool.
and vitality, a character's ability to block and heal damage.
Nice.
You could be playing the same character over multiple campaigns, but just depending on how you build them, it could radically
Oh, that's
change
really good.
from
Deck
one
building in
campaign
a
to another, how that character is
exploration
going to
dungeon
function.
crawl is awesome.
For example, I might have a
Such
hunter
a good
that
idea.
specializes in Ludwig's Holy Greatsword, a big, massive, slow weapon that usually deals a lot of
Bang,
damage
bang,
with my attacks.
bang.
Depending on which upgrades I choose, the playstyle of that character can drastically change.
Oh, so awesome.
I begin speccing into speed, replacing a lot of my basic deck with speed upgrades, allowing me to attack faster with these high damage dealing attacks.
Oh man, that's so good.
I
Innovative.
decide that I just want to focus on dealing more damage, and then invest in
Add all those strength cards, yeah.
Attacks are going to remain slow, but hit that much harder.
Oh,
Through this, I can actually
5
modify
damage.
my character's playstyle to fit my own.
That's
Whether you
awesome.
want to take a balanced approach and keep your stats roughly the same.
Well, let's keep it short and sweet. But that is quality. Creating your deck with different. Oh, wow. Yeah, I hope you understood that. But that's really, really awesome. Trick weapons and playstyles. Next.
A hunter's weapon might be the single largest aspect that is going to determine your playstyle as you're
Amen.
playing each game.
Yeah.
Perhaps the most
There's always 2
iconic
sides to a
aspect
weapon.
of Bloodborne are their trick weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons that can change between 2 powerful forms. We've
Yeah.
represented this in the game via a 2-sided weapon dashboard. Each side lists the various attacks available to that weapon.
Oh, you
the
flip it
damage
over.
their speed,
Oh,
as well as the
sick.
unique ability to that weapon. During the game, players can transform these weapons to either side, giving them unique
That's
tactical
quality.
capabilities depending on the situation they're up against. For
That's
example,
awesome.
Ludwig's Holy Greatsword has 2 sides. The Greatsword specializes in high damage but slower attacks.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Longsword is a little faster but doesn't deal quite as much damage. Knowing your weapon, its specific strengths and weaknesses, is going to be perhaps the single most important aspect to determine the
Very,
success or
very
failure
weapon-based
when
as
you're out
well.
on the hunt. Your weapon can
That's
also
quality.
determine your role in your overall hunting party. For example, the 2 forms of the Hunter's Axe allow you to switch between a healing side as well as an area of effect giant cleaving side.
Wow.
This is going to change the dynamic that you have in the group, whether you want to be a tank or just a large damage.
I love how he's got Chandra in the
This
background.
also ties into which specific skills and upgrades you choose throughout the course of the
That's so
campaign.
good.
With the Hunter's Axe, I might decide I want to focus on being the tank of the group. Therefore, I want to spec in vitality cards and really make use of that healing side.
Oh, it's
Conversely,
quality.
I could decide that I want to spec into just dealing more raw damage. Therefore, I'll have a bigger focus on that AoE side, and my strategy will become luring
So
enemies
good.
together so I can get the biggest benefit out of that.
Very,
ability.
very good. Deals
Even
damage to
know
all
what
enemies
weapon
on your
is capable
space.
of,
Wow.
what its specific strengths are, what its weaknesses might be, and more specifically, what type of enemies it's going to be better against.
Wow, this sounds so good. Literally, every aspect of the game I like is awesome. Miniatures, we don't really need to watch a video on that. Combat, let's have a look at the combat. 2 minutes. Combat.
Of course, one of the main aspects of Bloodborne is going to be its combat.
Amen.
Let's go over some of the basics to how this operates.
Some of the basics could be subject to change.
Each of your trick weapons is going to list a number of attacks that it can do.
Cool.
These attacks are going to have a speed,
Slash, cross cleave.
damage associated with them, and a variable ability. When
Nice.
you make an attack, you'll take one of the skill cards from your hand and place it on the slot of your trick weapon.
Cool.
This is going to augment the attack in some way. You'll then
Yeah.
reveal an enemy AI card, which is going to show you the attack the opponent is going to be using. Each enemy card lists its basic attack, the attack it's going to use most often,
Yeah.
and its special attack. a rare but usually more potent attack. You'll need to pay
simultaneous action selection
almost. It's
almost.
going to modify how you should approach each situation. By laying a stat card on an attack, you're going to modify it in some way. Skill cards will make your attacks faster, strength cards will make them deal more damage, endurance cards can help you clear the slot, allowing you to make more attacks in that same turn, and vitality cards will allow you to heal after the attack.
Wow, so good.
The weapon itself is also going to change how you attack. For example, you might be using the threaded cane / serrated whip trick weapon.
That is quality.
This means that you're going to specialize in very fast but low damage dealing attacks. Conversely, a hunter might be using Ludwig's Holy Greatsword, which is going to deal high damage but at a
very slow. Yeah.
And attack speed is one of its most important aspects, as attacks are resolved in speed order, meaning that an attack that is fast is going to resolve itself before an attack.
So you slash him before he bashes you. That's so cool.
How they approach a situation. Going against
it's like
enemy, it might be
dealing with the initiative and the speed aspect of it.
Or if that option is not available, I might have to find ways to mitigate the damage they're going to deal to me first, and then hit them back with an even more powerful
That's quality. Really like the sound of that.
Attacks featured in that weapon are drastically going to change how I approach each situation. If I'm playing Ludwig's Holy Greatsword, I might want to spec into Vitality, meaning that even though I'm going last, I'm going to heal up all the damage I deal with my giant, heavy blows.
That's quality.
If I'm playing a faster weapon, though, I can spec into Speed to deal more damage at a faster rate. Or I could decide to start buying additional skill cards, which will grant me benefits for attacking faster. It's this dynamic of knowing what my weapons are capable of, my overarching strategy, as
That's
well as
really good. I really like the sound of that.
I really feel expands the tactical aspects of combat when it comes to Bloodborne. We've removed as much luck out of the situation as we can. The results of each combat are primarily going to be determined by the choices you made as a player and how you approach each engagement.
That's really, really cool. How you just play cards from your deck, make it, albeit a skill card, a strength card, endurance, vitality. You're going to augment the weapon with that card, and it's going to grant you abilities based on what you're building your deck and building your character around. That is really, really awesome. Campaign and progression, working with the licensor, enemy AI, tiles, gameplay overview. So much things on here that you could go and have a look at if you wanted to have a look yourself, rather than listen to me talk over the guy for copyrighted purposes. But still, Bloodborne, really, really looking forward to it. It looks really, really awesome. You've also got optional buys here as well, where you could add the Argol, the Unseen Village, onto your pledge when you get through to the pledge manager. It says here how you can buy those stretch goals, all of them which have been unlocked so far. So many have been unlocked, and we as pledgers get access to all of this content. We get access to all of this content. A lot of it's Kickstarter exclusive as well. So make sure if you're a fan of Bloodborne or you're a fan of what you've just seen, dungeon crawls, horrible creatures, awesome combat mechanics, then make sure you go and pledge to it. It looks really, really awesome. Probably going to be shipping around about 2020 by looks of it. But again, that could be subject to change based on how well it does, or well, it's funded already, but how much of a challenge it is to support something of this much hype. But look at all this content, so much. Yeah, really, really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's been the discussion point on Bloodborne, the board game. I've backed it. You should too, as well, if you're a fan of really, really, really hard, difficult games. Make sure you go and back it. I'm not sure how difficult this one's going to be in comparison to like Dark Souls and what have you. But again, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this progresses. So make sure you go and pledge. There's only 14 days to go left on the Kickstarter, and it's only going to get more and more content if you do back it. So yeah, just go and do that as soon as possible if that tickles your fancy. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've been Aaron Francis on the Tabletop Tuesdays section, talking about Bloodborne, the board game. Hopefully you'll go and see some more tabletop content, gameplay soon of other games that we have here in the studio. But thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you drop a comment if you're really, really excited of seeing Bloodborne as well. So yeah, that's probably about it from me today. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.